Hey, what's up guys, Wintergar here with a Battlefield 4 multiplayer gameplay review. I'll be checking out the Recon class and also the gameplay changes in this video. So basically what I'll be doing is I'll be going over the classes and weapons that affect the Recon class, the gameplay changes that affect the Recon class, and also the movement changes that affect the Recon class in this video. First off, I'll start off with my setup, which is the SRR-61, also known as the Intervention, the 8x rifle scope, angled grip, and a tri-laser for improved hipfire accuracy. I'm running this with a compact 45 pistol, which is great for medium or close range combat, and also Recon Balls to basically give me vision while I'm moving. They're a lot better than the tugs if you want to be able to move from one point to another and be able to basically keep your vision out or check on an area by throwing a Recon Ball out, for example the bomb site or maybe a building to see if there's anybody in it. I'm using C4 to basically lay traps for enemies on bomb sites in the middle of a building or also to blow up vehicles. From now on guys, I'm just going to call the SRR-61 the Intervention because it's just a hell of a lot easier to say. I've messed up the commentary a few times trying to say SRR-61 in between every other word. So the Intervention is a lot like the M98B. It does equal damage and range to the M98B, however it takes up a lot less of the screen. This makes it a lot easier to use. It gives you a lot more mobility in terms of you have more awareness because your gun isn't taking up as much of the screen. So you might spot somebody that you wouldn't have otherwise if you're using the M98B. A lot of you guys asked in my previous videos, is this going to one-shot kill, because you saw me basically shooting guys and it appeared to give the impression that it was a one-shot kill. A lot of those guys had already taken damage. This gun basically deals enough damage to pretty much almost kill them, and then you have to finish them off. So for anybody that took any damage at all, it's a really great gun to kill them straight away. For anyone that's basically hasn't taken any damage, you want to try and make sure that you always get a headshot, or obviously if they're going to run somewhere where you'll lose vision on them, just ping them anyway, because somebody on your team will basically see them after that and then take them out. They only need to take a really small amount of damage, so it's a great gun for that aspect. So now we'll move on to some of the gameplay aspects that will be affecting snipers. The first one on the list is that running reduces accuracy. When you've been sprinting around for a while, your accuracy will be a lot worse. For example, on scopes you'll get a lot more sway, or perhaps your bullet won't go exactly where you're trying to aim it because obviously you're very tired, you've just been sprinting around for a while, which is a cool thing to add in because obviously this gets rid of the whole sort of like aggressive recon and running and sprinting everywhere. You have to think about where you move. You have to move from cover to cover because you always need to be in a position where you're basically safe to fire on somebody. You can't just run out in the open and expect to just be able to full on stop and take an accurate shot from like 300 meters away at some guy, but you basically can go down on a knee to counter this to improve your accuracy slightly, or maybe go prone or something like that to basically boost your accuracy. For snipers, this is always worth taking note of because obviously if you've been running around and you instantly come face to face with a guy, you want to try and aim at the very center of his chest to increase the chances that your bullet will basically hit them. So basically avoid, like if your scope sway goes left or right, it won't go too far and you'll still manage to hit them. So this is one of the things that you guys need to keep in mind if you're planning on playing as the Recon class and planning on playing as a long range to medium range class, for example. For any of you guys that have been keeping up to date with Battlefield 4, you'll know that they reduce the amount of suppression for certain classes. So the Engineer class, for example, and the Assault class don't deal as much suppression as other classes such as the Sniper class or the Support class with their light machine gun heavy caliber weapons. What this means is that basically if you see an Assault class or an Engineer class very far away, you can play your role very well as a Sniper or a Recon class. You can sit there, snipe at them. If you miss, they turn around, try and fire at you. Even though the bullets are going over your head, don't worry like you would in Battlefield 3, you'd instantly assume you were suppressed and wouldn't be able to hit anything, and you'd maybe move position. Stand up, try and take another shot at them, and a lot of the time you will actually hit them if your crosshairs are basically aimed directly on them. It's only when they like fire at you for a very long time that you'll start to feel the effects of suppression. So this is really cool for the Recon class. It means that you can play your role really well. Obviously if somebody was being fired upon as a Recon class from very far away, and you knew that guy didn't have a very accurate like long range weapon, you just put your sniper rifle up and take the guy out, which is really cool to see because obviously it means that you do feel a lot more like a Recon when you're playing the game. The next thing on the list is quickscoping and no-scoping. Now you guys might have thought or been given the impression that you could quickscope and no-scope from my previous footage. This isn't true, you can't actually do any of that. It's just because I edited my footage obviously to only show successful kills. So these are only the quickscopes and no-scope attempts that actually managed to work. A lot of the time when I was trying to no-scope, the bullet would just completely miss them. As you'll notice from some of the footage where I literally stand about 2 meters away from another sniper and I point my gun at him, fire, and it misses. I'm pretty sure he was doing the same thing to me. This means that obviously you can't run around and just quickscope from close range because you are meant to be a Recon class, so you are meant to engage people from medium to long ranges, which is where your weapon works best. Obviously, you'll have noticed when I was quickscoping, the bullets basically, I think I wasn't even aiming on the guy and the bullet kind of fired to the side very luckily and managed to hit him in like the foot, and that's how I killed him. So a lot of the time quickscoping doesn't really work very well. You need to like wait a second so that you've got your accuracy completely on and then fire at them. Another thing for the gameplay is that the weather effects such as windy trees and bushes move. You need to always remember this. For example, on Paracel Storm, when the weather changes to stormy, the bushes will basically be blowing left and right and the trees will be moving. So if you're a sniper and you're hiding in a bush, you don't have the best camo on, as soon as the bushes start moving, people will pick you out much easier. They'll see you a lot easier, so you need to make sure that you're either quite far behind or you're maybe only head peeking above the bushes, so they can't really see you that well. Maybe like going full on prone and trying to shoot them from between the leaves would work a lot better. Next on the list is movement that affects snipers. One of the things that I noticed that I don't think anybody's pointing out yet is when I basically tried to vault over a wall, I could then press jump again and basically jump from the corner of the wall to try and get to like other areas. One thing that I did was where there's basically a flag that has like 3 two-story buildings on it. If any of you guys have played it or you've seen a lot of footage, you'll know which one I mean, because it's the only instance on Paracel Storm where there's 3 buildings right next to each other in the center island, I think it is. What I was doing here was I was on the balcony of one of the buildings, I vaulted over the wall, and as I did that I pressed space again, and it basically jumped from the corner of the wall and put me to the other building, which was really cool because I was able to basically parkour across. Obviously I'm using a Recon class, it's a very light setup, so that was really cool to see. Jumping onto the corner of the wall and then pushing yourself off it so you can jump further. If you do miss the space, obviously you will fall, so hopefully there'll be some more places on the maps where you're able to do stuff like this. It makes you basically feel like you're very maneuverable. Obviously DICE made Mirror's Edge, so it feels it's like an aspect of that which has been added into the game, which is really cool to see. It makes it so that you can like run and jump and like be basically outrunning and maneuvering people really quickly, so that's nice to see. Another thing is the ability to peek over cover. What you basically have to do is you press yourself up against a wall or anything that's basically higher than head height. It'll then come up with a little message on screen if you're able to, and it'll say right click to peek, which basically when you pull up your sights, your head will pop up over the cover. I think they've raised the height of a few of the things which you would have seen in Battlefield 3. In Battlefield 4 they're a bit higher to basically cover the top of your head and avoid the whole situation where I can see only the top of a player's head, but he can basically see my whole body over the cover. This is to basically counter that. It's quite useful to use in some instances, but for myself I found that basically snapping myself to the cover using the right click basically gave me a lot less maneuverability, so I preferred to kind of sit far enough back in the building so that I could see over the cover anyway and I was exposing myself as little as possible, or perhaps just like kind of crouch and stand up next to the window using the control key myself. One of the other useful tips for you guys is always make sure to try and prone behind cover whenever you come under fire. I got away from a ton of situations where I would have died if I had basically tried to run away, simply by proning behind maybe like a tiny bit of the island terrain or the sandbag emplacements, for example. There was a moment where I basically proned, the bullets were flying over my head, my cover was only about as high as my head, and then I managed to like basically maneuver to my left and then out-snipe the guy that was shooting at me, which was really cool to see. So the last thing on my list is the all-class weapons. The sniper obviously, or the Recon, has access to the all-class weapons. This includes carbines, which are really good medium-range weapons. The ACWR is an example of this. In what I've played so far, obviously the game hasn't been balanced yet, but the ACWR was possibly one of the best guns in the game. It had like very little recoil, a lot of damage, almost fired exactly like an AK, pretty much did about the same amount of damage. Well, obviously you're able to use this on a sniper. Some of you guys might be like, but the sniper doesn't have like med packs or anything like that, so it doesn't matter. But the sniper does have access to Recon Balls, which basically give you vision and maneuverability. You're able to run around, throw a Recon Ball out into a building, know where everybody in that building is moving, instantly go in and start taking them all out, so you can throw it off into a jungle where you haven't even seen anyone, but you think the enemy might be over there, and it'll instantly reveal them all, which basically reduces the chances that you ever are at a disadvantage. I used this a lot in Battlefield Bad Company 2. I'd use the VSS sniper rifle, kills in 2 to 3 shots, and you'll just destroy anybody that comes up against you. But the main advantage was the fact that I had Recon Balls, so basically nobody ever got the drop on me. I always knew which side to approach people from because they'd always come up on my Recon Balls. So I'd like to hear what you guys think about this. If you think that this is a good idea to give the sniper class obviously all class weapons such as the carbines. Obviously if this will change their role to basically be more of an assault class that has basically a lot of vision, this might be a bit different. But I'd like to hear what you guys think about this, and obviously on anything that I've brought up today, if you guys have a different opinion to what I've said, or obviously you guys know something that would affect any of the gameplay or the classes, such as the Recon class in Battlefield 4, make sure to drop it below, because I want to make sure I edit in another video so I don't leave anything out. So that's basically it from me for today. Please leave a rating and obviously subscribe for more Battlefield 4 videos. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you guys next time.